Hey guys, I'm going to start this video by asking you guys what the most important objective in all of Dota 2 is. Spoiler alert, the answer is Roshan. And this video is going to be all about the new meta trick that pros are abusing at TI almost every game that I've watched that will help ensure that you secure Roshan in games that you are controlling the map. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Banana slam jam.
So first and foremost, I'd like to talk about what's caused this meta development in the first place. And so it's really important to note that Roshan spawns anywhere between 8 to 11 minutes after you previously killed him. And this is a window that's wide enough to highly vary the results in a game. Like, how long can you control this area around the pit? And so it's important to note that there's a lot of high grounds around Rosh on both sides. Here's the high grounds on Dire and high grounds on Radiant. And it's kind of impossible to control these high grounds and consistently check for whether or not Roshan is going to spawn somewhere in this interval. In the past, people used to use a courier that would constantly sit in the Rosh pit, kind of letting them know when Rosh is going to spawn. But they nerfed this. Look, see, couriers no longer provide vision in the Rosh pit. So that was a nerf that happened somewhere around last year. But now pro players have come up with a completely new way to basically replace this courier scout to ensure that they get this Roshan. Let's go ahead and check out an example. So I have pulled up Liquid versus OG Game 2 in the group stage. And this is one example of many, by the way, of this occurrence happening, and pretty much every pro team is doing it. So what happens is that Liquid is going to take Roshan at around 25-15. And they, as you can see, they have a relatively sizable lead, 7k net worth, 27-7 in kills. So a lot of times the second Roshan is going to be what helps you go high ground and what helps you in the game. So that's why this video is so important, to show you what these teams are doing to solidify this. So they've taken the first Roshan, and that means that the next Roshan is going to spawn somewhere between 33-20 and 36-20. So they're going to have to control the Roshan area for that entire 3-minute window if they want to reliably take the second one. So we arrive at 33-20. The first possible moment that Roshan could spawn. A lot of times teams will set up control of Roshan even prior to this time because they want to make sure at this time that they control Roshan. So usually when you're Dire, you'll do it on the opposite side, and when you're Radiant, you'll see exactly what Liquid is doing here. They place a high ground ward that scouts out this entire area for Dire, and they make sure that they protect it. These are two very important things that everybody in a pub should be fully aware of. And usually they'll send one hero, in the case of Snapfire, to go defend the bottom lane if necessary. And Dire will do the exact same thing if this lane ever gets pushed, because a lot of times the team that's losing will try to apply some sort of split push pressure down here, and for Dire that's going to be this tower, for Radiant that's going to be this tower, just to try to break this exact formation. So everything you do as a team is all about holding this formation. But what you're going to see here is how much teams care about exactly when that Roshan spawns. Because when you're winning, the longer you give the opponent, especially if they have a late game lineup like Magnus Arc Warden, to farm and come back, the more likely it is that they manage to accrue the items that it's going to take for you to throw, right? So they want to hit that timing as soon as possible. So they're going to start checking the Rosh pit pretty commonly. So Boxy checks it 7 seconds after the possible spawn. As we fast forward here, we have Boxy. So Montumba Man checks it, and then we're going to see a standard move from OG where they know that Liquid is doing this, right? Because at the highest level, all these teams know. So OG is going to try to take the fight, and it's actually very inconvenient for Liquid that Matu, at the start of this fight, was busy checking the pit. It would have been much more ideal for Liquid to have heroes already set up on this high ground so that when OG tried to invade, that they would have been able to scout this whole thing out. Needless to say, Liquid does manage to take a good fight, at least good enough to maintain control of this area. Notice how the ward fight happened on the hill, drives back OG, and then they're going to resume positioning, right? Exact same thing resumes, and we're going to see now Mickey go and check the Rosh pit. They are constantly scouting this out. As we fast forward, we have now hit 1 minute and 40 seconds of when Roche could possibly be spawning. So there's now 80 seconds left. Insania now goes in. So now 4 out of 5 members of Liquid have checked the Roche pit. And I would even argue for the sake of this video that they did it, the trick, slower than most of the other teams that I've been seeing. A lot of teams do this at the very start of the Roshan spawn window. So here's where we get the amazing meta trick that a lot of the casters in TI have actually overlooked. They feel like teams are dropping the gem just to be safe. Spoiler alert, I said dropping the gem. And we're going to look at what Insania has in his inventory. So if you guys didn't know, when you drop Gem of True Sight, it provides vision in an area around it. The original intention of Gem providing vision, as we're going to see here, is for you to find it. The whole idea was if the team drops it, it was too hard to go get it. Like sometimes it would drop on some random side of a tree when you're running away in a tree, and you couldn't even find it. So it's literally meant for the team who dropped it to find it. But now, just like the old courier, see how Liquid now has vision in the Roche pit. And this is going to allow them to protect their hill and control this area and push out the lanes without having to dedicate a hero to physically checking the pit, as they're able to take a fight with no longer having to concern themselves with knowing whether or not Roshan is up. They have the complete informational advantage in regards to this. And as long as your team is controlling this area, it is incredibly difficult for the opponent to do anything about this, because in the past, you could have just taken a courier and gone and picked up the gem, but they can't do that, right? Because the couriers do not see. So they would have to actually bring a hero in to take this. And so what's going to happen is an entire team fight occurs, really nice precasted Yules from Matumba Man, and they're going to know exactly when Roshan spawns because of this gem. And that's going to allow them to immediately run back in. And even though in this case it spawned pretty much towards the end of the window, they were able to have complete and utter knowledge control of whether or not this Roshan had spawned. And so the biggest thing about this entire video is the fact that this little gem trick can be used at any level as long as everybody, or at least a decent amount of the people, are on the same page. But this is kind of a double whammy, because this is the meta. This is how you win mid to late game. You can watch this as any bracket of skill and just make sure you're not the guy that's preventing this from occurring, and you will win games. What I mean by preventing this from occurring is being the guy on Radiant that's casually jungling down here during this time frame, right? Or casually pushing this tower during this time frame, because none of the rest of the map matters at this stage in the game. So by using this simple gem trick, it allows them to control the hill better and secure their ability to close out a game where they have the lead, especially when the opponent has superior late game and superior high ground defense. Thanks for watching, guys. Keep an eye out for this trick during TI. Pretty much every team is doing it, and it'll help you understand better what's going on in the games, so you kind of see the high-level mind games going on from these professional teams. Keep watching for updated content from the International. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.